It is the incident most debated from round 3. Forward crafts, unnecessary push, unreasonable action. There's the adjudication of it on field, and there's what's happening at the tribunal right now. The modern day duty of care married up with rough conduct. We're going to put this to Ray Chamberlain in a moment's time. Razor, great to have you here.
Good to be here, mate.
But the case has concluded. David Zeta, guilty or not guilty?
Jared, Gary, Razor, it is a guilty verdict for Ryan Mansell. He will miss the next 3 matches. The suspension has been upheld at the AFL tribunal just seconds ago. So I'll just run you through very briefly off the phone what the reasons were. The tribunal didn't accept Mansell's evidence that he didn't see 2 players were coming, and they noted, as Gary said, had he have not known they were coming, he would have effectively been pushing Liam O'Connell into an uncontested mark. Mansell's movements are only consistent with him knowing or assuming that other players were running in to contest the mark. Even if he didn't see sufficiently clearly, he should have assumed that that sort of contest could have taken place. They also noted the force of a push is a significant factor here. If Mansell did not know what was coming, it was still careless of him to forcefully push a player with the path of the ball, where he should reasonably expect there would likely be players running in the opposite direction. The Ruben Jimby Sam Lawler incident, they don't find it comparable enough to draw any distinctions between that. They also didn't want to rule on whether that was right or wrong. That's not their job. But ultimately, Ryan Mansell's 3-match suspension has stood at the AFL tribunal.
David Zeta, thank you. I posed the exact question, which brought the House of Cards down. Well done. On-field, Razor, was it a free kick?
So, for a push, he's pushed him in the side as much as anything. And so, from an umpiring perspective, our umpire, their focus is primarily on the leading players coming up. And you see a hold was paid to Lynch. And so that's going to need somebody from out of zone to pick that up at the front of the contest there. Very difficult for that one to be picked up in general play.
If they'd seen it, would they have paid it?
Well, I think you got one hand in the side and one hand on the back. And as a result of that, I think you're probably going to err more towards play on. But do I believe that this is rough conduct? I do. But
you're not going to pay a free kick?
No, for in the back I wouldn't, but it's rough conduct. So you think
Does
about
rough
this.
conduct bring a free kick?
Absolutely. So consider something along the following lines. Ball going towards boundary line, give a guy a shove and he runs into a fence. You pay a free kick for that. It's a similar bucket.
Yeah.
And it fits with your view with Jinby was that should have been sent to the tribunal.
Absolutely. And I think that whilst the tribunal were keen to avoid making comparisons, and I can see that they are different, both of these things are a situation where player could, really foresee that there was traffic coming. For me, Jared, with these things is, I've heard craft and these sorts of words used. If your sole objective is to contest the football in this game, you tend to get looked after by the system. And when it's not, you throw yourself at the mercy of it.
Yep. Score review. Shall we play along a little bit?
Sure.
Has it served the game well?
So, I think in its infancy, I understood what the premise was. So there was a sort of this idea that we wanted to remove something that potentially was just a horrible human error. We're fallible.
Yeah. Hawkins off the post in the 29 grand final.
It's a perfect example, and that's when it sort of really reached its zenith. And I sort of, there are other things at play too. We've heard it's a dynamic game. You can get the sun, the light in your eyes, lose the ball, all those sorts of things. And I think in its infancy, that's what it was about. But for some reason, and I don't know who's the cause of this, Jared, but we've got this idea that the current score review system is going to cure all issues. Jared, we're running with a Commodore 64 and we're trying to pretend it's AI technology. And so pick your poison. That's what I'd love the game to do and lead on this. Are we just eliminating the howler where we can categorically say we have a human error here?
So the howler was Adelaide off the post here on Sunday.
Darcy Fogarty, perfect example. For whatever reason, and there could be many, we don't see the deflection. It's significant. No one's disputing that the ball hit the post, including Darcy, right? So this is a perfect example where our Commodore 64 does the job, right? And we can go, no, that's a point, and away we go. But when we try and pretend that the technology and the system that's currently in place is going to capture all bits and pieces, we're kidding ourselves. And so then for me, I never used to get frustrated when I was an umpire on field, Jared, because I just didn't get involved with these sorts of things. But now that I'm not in that role, I find it increasingly frustrating.
So Jacob Wiedering touches the ball on Friday night. He says so. I totally believe him, but it's not really depicted conclusively.
And so the way it currently stands and the technology in place, we can't categorically say that he did touch it. I tend to agree with you, but there's no evidence there that suggests absolutely without any shadow of a doubt. And so just sell that. We are not interfering. Because if there was no review system, we would just go with umpire's call. That would be it. And Darcy Fogarty would have been awarded a goal.
So we overruled there. There was the curious one in the Melbourne game against the Giants where Bowie said it touched.
He made everyone set up in the zone
Yep.
and started screaming at them if they weren't.
They couldn't find a replay that supported it being touched, so they stuck with a goal, and blow me down, as soon as that was done, they found the right replay. So we didn't quite manage to get there when there was conclusive evidence.
And so with this process, and to give some insight, what happens allegedly after every goal is that these are reviewed and the ball will make its way back during the ad break. And if there is some concern or a likelihood that it's going to be reviewed, the field umpire will get some communication in their ear to say, do not bounce the ball. We are reviewing this, it's likely we're going to overturn it. Now, if that doesn't come through to the umpire's earpiece, as soon as the chime sounds to say, we're done with the ad, get on with it, you bounce the ball.
Yep.
So they should have told him not to in that instance. So we haven't seen all angles yet. Hold on.
If they thought that they were going to overrule it, they should have interjected. They didn't do that.
The post debate, so this is Damien Hardwick's pet project from an elimination final at the Gabba. It was there for us on Friday night. There is no way of knowing on the depth perception where the ball is in relation to the post.
None.
Even though the suspicion is it probably is over the post.
So what's he saying is the answer there?
So that's going to have to wait for the chip.
Yeah,
We
and
can't do anything about that.
absolutely not. And I think as all of us as stakeholders in the game, fans, media, whatever, is we just have to understand that the umpire is paid to make a call and they will do that. And like with every sport, Jared, whether you nicked it or not, if he puts his finger up, you've got to toddle off.
And then confusion reigns when we're asking, was it the post, was it the arm, is it a goal? We just sort of got caught no man's land.
And this is so difficult to know, right? So definitely something hits the post. Cal Wilkie hits the post for sure. They're all verging on one, on the line, on the post, and the goal umpire, in this instance, suspects that the ball's touched or has hit the post. So if there was no score review system, it would have been a behind. And this is the whole point, right? We can't categorically say what happened there. So defer to the goal umpire and defer to that call, but just be brazen about it and go, that's what we're doing.
All right, we'll go back to playing Pong on the Commodore 64. Good to have you here, Razor. Thank you.
Always good to be here.